everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, for anyone who is new here, and I'm a wedding photographer in Toronto, Ontario. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go back in time about 7 years ago, and I am going to show you one of the first weddings that I ever shot as a lead photographer, and I am going to critique that wedding and talk about things that I think I did right and things that I could have done differently. It's a little bit nerve-wracking to share this with you all because it really isn't my best work because it was a long time ago. But I think it is crucial to our growth as a photographer to be able to look back at our previous work or our current work and reflect on it and see where we could make improvements. Before I jump into the critique, if you like more content like this, please like and subscribe to my channel. Now let's dive into the past and take a look at one of the very first weddings that I photographed. Here is a wedding that I photographed a few years ago. I think it was like 2017 or 2016. So that was like about 7 years ago. I had already photographed a few weddings as a lead on my own, and I think I had second shot quite a bit, like a little bit at least, before this. So it turned out okay, but there are a few things that I should have done differently. All right, so I remember before this wedding that I did go scout out the venue, which was good, and I think I had a pretty good plan in place for the photos, and I communicated with the bride about what photos she wanted, so I had a family photo list. I remember it was a really tight timeline. There wasn't, like for the photos, there wasn't a great location for photos. And I'll show you as we go along here what happened. So I started with the detail photos like this. I think that looks okay, but I wonder where the engagement ring is, if there was one. Usually if I do a ring shot like this, it is nice to have the engagement ring with the larger diamond in the photo. So if I redid this, I'd probably ask to borrow her engagement ring. And let's see here. These look okay. These makeup shots were at a window, it looks like, which is nice, which is what I like to do for the makeup shots. Look at this detail photo. All right, it doesn't look in focus. I used f2.8 here. I think I usually now when I do flat lay shots like this, I usually use about f4, and for me that helps keep things in more focus. Also, I was probably too close to this, and I'm using a 50mm. So if I did this again, I'd probably use my 24 to 70, use a wider angle lens so that I could get a wider shot of this and have more space, white space around the details, because I took these photos on a bed and I couldn't get that far away from them. So yeah, I think the detail shots look okay. That one shot I would have done differently, the flat lay. Let's see the dress. I remember struggling with this, and it looks a little bit rumpled here. It looks okay, but the bottom of the dress looks a little rumpled. I should have tried to fix that a little bit more. I like these shots of the bride checking herself out. They're lit well by window light, which is nice. All right. Okay, so another thing about this wedding, it does not look like all of these photos are edited. I'm not sure what happened here. I didn't have the process at this time that I currently use to separate my photos into different categories and edit them using my preset. So it doesn't look as well organized as what my current galleries or my current weddings would look like. I'm not sure what I was doing here. But if you want to see how I currently organize my photos, I do have a video on YouTube here about how I use Photo Mechanic, and that is the process that I use to cull and organize my photos currently, and it works really well. So let's see, these look nice. Okay, I got some photos of the bridesmaids. I'm just gonna scroll down here. So far, so good. This room had like an air conditioning or heating unit underneath the door or underneath the window, which I hate those. But as you can see, I tried to shoot like in different directions, so I'm not shooting at that unit. Or I tried to crop the photos above the waist like this, which is helpful when you have one of those. With these photos, it's like a silhouette type thing. I could have bounced my flash and added light onto the bride's face. Oh, I can see that I started doing that here. Yeah, in the shot, I bounced my flash, so it looks brighter on her face. She has a pretty good expression, and that wouldn't need much editing, which is good. All right. I noticed here I had left the light on. I see the light to the side of the bride, and in retrospect, I wish I'd turned that off because it adds a different color to that section of the room, and it makes it more difficult to edit. And the way I pose the bride here, I like it because I'm hiding that air conditioning unit. And I remember I liked these photos. I thought she looked nice. It was a nice pose. And then I did some from a higher angle. I think this is just too high. I don't really love that, but anyhow, I like these. She looks really happy. Once again, I see some light creeping in on the left from a lamp, and I wish I'd turned that off. Okay, these are the first look. The radiator. I hate it. But, okay, first look with her dad. That one's okay. Once again, I bounced the flash there, and that helped. And then we did some photos of the bridesmaids in the lobby. That's an okay location. We have some good window light there. Oh, yeah, I do like this, the bride leaving for the ceremony. She looks so happy. All right, so this is the ceremony. It was indoors. There's windows. There's decent light, but like here, I could have used my flash on him coming down the aisle. Or adjusted my settings. Let's see. It looks okay. I think it would have been nice if I just used my flash just for that. Just for them walking down the aisle. Yeah, you can see, I don't think this one's in focus. So using my flash there would have helped. I don't love using my flash in the ceremony, but just for a couple of shots coming down the aisle, it would have helped. Just to clean up the image and make it brighter. Okay, so these ceremony photos, it looks like I followed my regular process of how I shoot a ceremony. So captured them walking down the aisle, staying at the end of the aisle. Let's see, did I get the groom's expression? Yeah, so I always turn around, I get the groom's expression. That's good. And then, okay, I do some close-up shots with my 70 to 200. Yeah, 175. All right, that wasn't the greatest expression, but I just kept taking photos until I got the right moment, so that was good. And then I did a wider shot of the entire ceremony from the back using my 24 to 70. All right, that looks all right. So usually I would go to the other side, get the groom's expression too. I didn't do that in this case. These photos don't include my second photographer's photos, so she probably got those photos. I usually ask my second photographer to focus in on the groom. So I got the first kiss, that's important. All right, that looks good. And then the signing, it looks like I used my flash here. It looks good to me. Just a quick look at this. And then, okay, coming back down the aisle. So the lighting isn't great here, and I wish I used my flash. I could have used direct flash because the ceilings were really high, so it would have been hard to bounce. Oh, it looks like I'm trying to use my flash now, but it's not firing. Or there, it fired, but let's see, it doesn't look sharp. Oh, it's okay. I don't know what I did there. I could have done better. So that's one regret.
there is I should have been focusing better, had that flash prepared, and used it consistently so I could get at least one really good shot because with the movement of them walking down the aisle, it all happened so fast. I like to take a bunch of quick shots, and using my flash there would have been good. So, like I said, I did not have much time for the photos. So that includes family photos, bridal party, and bride and groom. We did it immediately after the ceremony. So I chose to do the family photos in the lobby right outside of the room where we had the ceremony. And I used an off-camera flash. I remember setting this up. It looks all right. Let's see, f7.1, ISO 800, 1/160. I think the settings are okay. They look in focus. They look pretty well lit. So I think I did well here. I remember I was prepared with the family photo list. I had good light, and we just did a bunch of photos in one location because we are running out of time. And then I did, let's see, bridal party photos here. That looks okay. I wish I would have left more room around the edges here, so that would have allowed me more room to crop after the fact. Okay, and then I switched up the pose. So I do like, I'll have like one standard pose with the bridal party. So I still do this. And then I'll get the bride and groom to kiss, everyone to cheer. I could have asked them to show more enthusiasm, it looks like. It looks okay, but they don't look too excited. And then I did another wedding party pose. I like that. The groom's not looking at the camera, but I did do multiple photos, so hopefully we had one with him looking. Once again, it would have been nice to have a wider shot here. If I stood back, it would have been nicer too. Stood back a little bit further so that I could have used a bit of a longer focal length so that the people on the ends weren't as warped, because with the 35, the guy over here and the people over here just look a little bit wider than they did in real life. So I should have stepped back a little, made the framing a little bit larger and used a slightly longer focal length. All right, so I did the bride and groom here, which is not bad. I mean, it's not the best, but I had the light already there, so that was a good opportunity just to get those photos. Okay, so then we did some bride and groom photos. These are okay. Let me see. It's not bad, I think. So I tried to get a bit of variety. I think I was on my own because I think the second shooter here had to go take photos of the room. I don't love this location. There's like mixed lighting. There's like a spotlight coming on her dress and lighting it up here, and it's in a different color temperature. I remember when I was taking these, I thought, okay, this is just not working out how I wanted it to, and I couldn't turn off that overhead light. So we did a few there, but I wish I just skipped that. Or once I realized that it wasn't the best lighting, I should have just moved on because I was running out of time. So we went across the field, across the street. There was a big field across from the convention center. It was like an industrial area, so there were buildings, not pretty buildings all around. But I remember if I shot in this direction in particular, I think the light was coming in from behind, which was good. And I tried to use shallow depth of field and get them far away from those buildings so that they would blur out. So I think my strategy there wasn't bad, but the problem here was the posing. And this makes me mad at myself because I always want to get this standard pose, you know, the bride and groom looking at the camera. I need at least one decent pose like this. And in this case, the groom is just really leaning far back. I should have asked him to place his weight a little more forward, lean a little more forward, and stick his chin out and down a little bit. That would have helped because right now his chin is kind of going back. Also, his hand is just like dangling here. So usually when I do this pose, I ask the groom to put that hand in his pant pocket. Just looks a little bit more refined. So I should have really taken the time to improve this pose. They just needed one, really good bride and groom pose. The wind was blowing. He also just doesn't look impressed. So I think I needed to try harder. That's on me. And nowadays when I do this pose, okay, I get the full body, so that's good. I should have done more horizontal, like in that same pose, and then I did the 3/4. It's okay, but I should have tried harder. I should have asked him to adjust his stance, put his hand in his pocket, and maybe I could have cracked a joke or something just to get a more natural expression. At the same time, I should have asked them to interact more. I just gave up on this pose after this point, and I should have gotten them in this pose, made it look good, and then asked them to interact or adjusted it so I could have gotten more variety just out of that one pose. All right, so I got them walking. All right, I always do the walking shot, and all right, so it's all right. I could have tried a little bit more. I should have reviewed the back of my LCD screen, seen that, well, did I nail it? No, they're talking. So I should have asked them to stop talking. Also, let's look at my settings here. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. That's just not the most flattering pose. I should have asked them to not talk, interact with each other, prompted them to look at the camera once in a while. Once in a while, like either the groom looking at the camera or the bride looking at the camera. So I should have given more direction there, and that's on me. Also, I remember just feeling a lot of pressure because I was running out of time. I remember thinking, I only have 5 minutes. I could have asked them to do a few more poses, just a few more minutes, and it would have made a big difference. So I really should have calmed down, focused on getting the best results that I could. But this is a part of the learning process. It takes time to learn how to pose people and to feel confident under pressure. So I remember I love this photo of the bride. I think this one turned out nice. I used my 85 millimeter here, which was one of my favorites. The 85 helped blur out the background. So I wish I'd used the 85 more on the couple portraits here. That would have been a good idea. Also, like I said before, the light is coming in behind her. You can see this little bit of light on her hair, which I think looks pretty. So the positioning was okay. So I do really regret this. Let's see. Oh, I got his hand in his pocket now. Well, okay. Maybe I realize I need to try again. And I use the 85 here. It's okay, but they're both leaning back. Also, I should have fixed her dress. Okay, I should have seen that part because you can't really fix that after. Maybe now if you could use some, like there's so many AI tools, you might be able to, but when I shot this, that wasn't around. They're both leaning back and getting kind of double chins, which is not their fault. That's my fault for not correcting that. That happens to anyone if you're kind of leaning back like that. And then we have the reception. It looks okay to me. I'm just going to look over this quickly. Looks like I was probably bouncing my flash. I'm getting some good reaction shots. Okay. Yeah. It looks okay. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I should have, in retrospect, the bride and groom photos was my one big area where I could have improved. Should have just taken my time with the posing, made sure I got it right, everything looking good before I started taking the photos. Okay, that's it.
Well, that was an interesting journey back down memory lane. Looking at some of my early work brings a bit of nostalgia to me, but also a fair dose of cringiness. But we all have to start somewhere, right? If you enjoyed this throwback critique, give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more content like this or if there's something else that you'd like me to show you in the future. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and remember that every mistake is a stepping stone to future improvement. Until next time, keep shooting, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.